Hello, welcome to Chapter 2 of Babies of the Storm with me, Tim, and Phil. Phil, how are you?
I'm doing great, doing fantastic. Ready to play some Heroes of the Storm.
Hell yeah, baby. Chapter 2 is Objectives and Late Game. Now, Phil, indeed. I crushed you in Chapter 1. What are we going to do here? Who should I pick? What's going on?
So we've got the Dahaka Bros shown on screen, but I'm going to offer you the ability to play whoever you want.
Okay.
Mostly because we're not going to be super focused on me fighting you at this point.
All right. Well, I will play a character I've literally never played before, and that came up last game. I will play Zool.
Zool's a good character.
And I will do yellow and green Zool.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I want.
It is time.
Let's go ahead.
We're on the same team.
We'll be going into a custom game here.
Oh, gotcha.
And, we'll put you on. You know what? Actually, we'll put each other on the same team. Let's do that.
Okay.
I'm gonna play Manfurion.
Now, I love Malfurion. I don't know what
He's your highest, right? He's your highest played hero.
Yes, I believe so. I don't know if anyone, who you would support as a starting support, who you would suggest as a starting support, but Tim Lanning has had a great time with Malfurion because he has this a heal, obviously, that you can actually tell it whom to heal, but also you give people mana, so even if you're playing poorly, people always kind of feel your presence, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I think Malfurion is a fantastic character to begin healing on. Supports actually have a lot of good options as well. So Malfurion's really good. Brightwing is also very good because your heals just kind of spew out of you. You don't have to target them, but it teaches you how to position correctly, being around to be able to get the maximum amount of heals. In addition to that, Lily is that same way. You just have to position correctly. So yeah, Malfurion, Brightwing, Lily are three great supports to start off on.
Cool.
All right, so let's go ahead and load into a custom game. And this is basically just going to be to show us... what map are you feeling?
I don't know.
I think we can do this on pretty much any of them.
How about the scary one with the Zerg?
Scary one with the Zerg.
Where you have to stand on the satellites or whatever.
Perfect. Braxis Holdout it is. And you know what? We're going to play our own little game where it's just going to be you and I. we're not going to have any... we're not going to have any enemies.
All right, so we're essentially playing the world's easiest tower defense game, and I'm going to feel great about myself.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna do the dopamine injection, basically, where we're just going to feel good about ourselves.
Finally, I needed this. I need this.
Yep.
Jennifer's gone. I need someone to tell me I'm good.
You're doing very well, and I think there's a lot of people here in chat that will tell you the same thing.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And again, at any time, Tim, feel free to ask questions. That's the point of this, is to answer your questions at the end of the day.
Perfect. I love it. I have a lot of questions, but so far you've been doing a great job. So we're doing objectives and late game. So
correct.
Obviously, I want to ask you, what talent should I pick?
At level 1, actually, I'm going to avoid that. I'm not going to answer you.
Yeah, because that's probably not what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, talent choices are very, very specific. They take the place in other MOBAs of items. So if I can't tell you this is the good talent every time.
Yeah.
Because that is just not true. Talents have so much utility that you can't really kind of explain it well, or you can't. There are better than other builds, builds that are more ideal. However, at the end of the day, I can't say end all be all. This is what you take.
Gotcha.
So when we're talking about objectives, there are 11 maps within Heroes of the Storm. That is a lot of information to process when you're first beginning. The game likes to put you on Cursed Hollow for at least the first 5 to 10, I think.
Oh yeah.
So you will only have to be worried about learning what one objective does. However, there are some kind of generalizations that we can make about this game. 2 minutes is typically when the objectives begin. Sort of standard. There's some play within that, where on Cursed Hollow, it's between like the minute 45 to 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I believe, to when the first tribute can begin. But generally, again, speaking in generalities, 2 minutes is when the first objective pops.
Okay.
So we're at a minute 20 here. You can see we've had at least 2 waves of minions.
Yes.
The first minute and 30 seconds. So what you are here is the most important objective above the game objective. Not dying in those 2 minutes.
Gotcha.
Do not die, because again, like we talked about in the first one, you will miss XP. You will give XP, and generally you will probably lose structures or at least precious ammo in those structures.
Okay.
You can see now that at a minute 50, it gives us a 10-second warning. So beacons are about to activate, and 2 minutes. Here we go.
Got it.
Beacons have activated. So it gives you about 10 seconds. It's variable of how much time they give you. Again, where most objectives come into play.
Okay.
So above the first objective, or the game objectives, is not dying.
Yes.
You also
Don't die.
clear waves, like we talked about.
Uh-huh.
You also want to keep your mana and health high.
Okay.
And there are reasons for that, because, so like we talked about previously, come with me back to our fort over here.
I'd love to.
We have these wells here. So go ahead and throw out just some random abilities. Just lose mana, basically. Now tap it.
I'm going to touch it.
Okay.
I'm strong.
Yeah. Yes. So these wells will give you mana that regenerates over time, as well as health. You hadn't taken any damage, so you didn't get the health, but you can see that kind of light blue bar filling up. Kind of, it's almost shaded, and it will fill up.
Yeah.
In this case, you got a little bit more.
Yeah.
Now, what you can also notice in the bottom left-hand side, next to your character portrait, you have that in that little hexagon.
Mm-hmm.
At the very bottom of that is your healing fountain timer.
Yes.
It is 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
It's always 2 minutes. Guess what also pops at 2 minutes?
The first objective. Oh,
exactly.
wow.
So if you run out into lane, you're strong, you're brave, you're the biggest boy in town, but you get 4 people that run in and kind of attack you and do a lot of damage, and you don't have a healer around.
Yeah.
You run back, you hit your well. That well is now down for 2 minutes. And you have 30 seconds until the objective pops. You can see where that comes into issue, because no matter what damage you do to the enemy team, they will still probably have their well available.
Right. So they just quickly back and then re-engage, right?
Exactly. They can run back, tap that well. You will probably not complete the objective in that amount of time, and they will come back in basically larger health pool than you will. So that is very important, is you want to keep your mana and your health high, in addition to not dying.
Okay.
Basically.
That makes sense to me.
Okay. You will always have that little timer down there, so whenever you touch it, or touch the cup is often what we refer to it as, just a little colloquially.
Take a little slip.
Yeah. I've heard it called sippy cup as well.
Ugh.
Yeah. So yes, using that well, it's very important. It's very highly valued. Use it if you have to.
Yeah.
Not saying you don't. But if you take a lot of damage in the first 15 seconds and you feel the need to run back, just hit B and you will begin Hearthstoning all the way back. Ideally, we'll do this in a safe place, but as you can see, you took some damage, and that will cancel your...
gotta go back. Gotta get out of here.
Yep.
I'm not at full.
It doesn't have to be any CC, like a stun, silence, or whatever. It's just any amount of damage will stop you from...
Yeah, even a minion, as we saw.
Exactly.
As stupid as that is.
So, don't tap the well unless you have to. And basically just kind of play around that time.
Yeah, and that seems like something that, just like you said with abilities, eventually you're going to have to kind of learn, right? The flow of, oh, I should use it now, or oh, I shouldn't use it now, right?
Precisely. And it's also, I'm the healer in this case. If you run up and take a bunch of damage and you ping that you can't... I guess we should talk about pinging as well. If you say you don't have a well, that means I use my mana and my abilities to basically heal you back up, because you maybe made a mistake.
Well,
and now that's costing our team, mana and abilities that could help other members of the team.
Mm-hmm.
We should also talk about pinging. So if you hit Alt
Yes.
and click on something, it has basically kind of, yep, Zool wants to help me. If you ping an enemy structure, I want to push the wall, I want to push the fort. You can also Alt click on an ability, and I'll say, I'm ready to use this.
Got it.
And then it'll tell you my cooldown. Or it will tell you, like, I have 1 charge of scouting drone.
And yeah, I can't click on you and be like, that's what I want to see. It's like, you have to tell me. So it's like an active communication, not a passive.
Indeed. You can also tell people you're going somewhere. If you hit G, it will bring up a wheel. Hold G down and kind of move your mouse around. And it'll say, like,
whoa,
I need help. I would like to defend this. Or what is most common I use is like, okay, I had vision briefly. I see people coming. Like, or this bush is dangerous. Because I don't have vision of it. Again, you should be getting kind of, if you ping too much, the game will tell you, hey, you've pinged too much. Please wait. Like, it's like half a second.
Yeah.
Basically.
Because you don't want one of your quote unquote allies to start screaming and whatever.
Yep. And it's much faster than I am going top. Okay.
Yeah, that is much better.
Rather than, okay, I can do that while I'm walking, basically, or that's more appropriate. If that gets too annoying, again, we could talk about this all day, but if you hit tab and go to a certain player, you can mute their pings as well as their chat.
Okay.
It's on the very far right of, you know, what their of their character.
Oh. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Just a handy thing if somebody's spamming it too much and you're like, this is more distracting than it is helpful.
Oh shit.
Then that's fine. That's totally okay. Yeah, just don't push that wave at all. So you can keep talking about
I don't want to accidentally win too fast.
Exactly. So yeah, that is the first objective. Begins within 2 minutes, most of the time in generals. Try to clear the wave, do it safely, as always. You want to keep your mana and health high, and if you can easily back without losing out on any XP, go ahead and go all the way back to base, get topped up, and come back into lane.
Got it.
Instead of using that well.
Yes.
Use that well if there's a team fight going on, you get a little low, but you think you can end up winning and come back to it.
Okay.
Do you have any questions about kind of the first few minutes of the game?
You know, I do and I don't, because I think what you said makes a lot of sense. Is, you know, what you said last episode about pushing the wave helped me. I kind of felt it was that biggest question of what do I do now? You know, in Dota, it's if most players have something to do constantly. When I first started playing HOT, so I was like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing at any minute of the day. Obviously, when the game starts screaming at me, I need to run over and do something. But I think I'm getting there. I'm getting there. This 2-minute sort of objective-based whatever on top of maybe take like, oh, it makes sense to take a fight now because the objective is going to be in blah blah blah. Oh, and we have our fountains up or something like that. That makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it does kind of get ethereal with, you know, sort of what your win condition is.
Yeah.
The objective is always really, really good. It's a really powerful thing that, like, here we just sat uncontested. It took out a fort and a keep in the first 10 minutes.
We're doing great.
That's really powerful. That's really great. Obviously, that's uncontested, but they are powerful tools to help you win the game.
Okay.
That is not always the case as to how you win the game. Sometimes just simply taking a team fight at the precise moment will wipe them, and then you can win. It's not necessarily tied to an objective all the time. Like,
got it.
I want to get that out to new players because it is very important. You do not have to have the objective in order to win the game. If you have kills on the enemy side, again, going back to sort of, you know, that point I like to make, if the game is equally matched you with somebody of your skill level, if you have 5 players and they have 4, they have one less person that is equally skilled, and therefore it is easier for you to win the game.
Right. Even if you're playing a team that's so much better, like capitalizing on when they goof or whatever.
Precisely. So yeah, back out of that. Actually, I don't want to.
I'm not going to attack. I just want to show people kind of what it looked like.
Oh, perfect. Yes. So this is another point I should bring up about the objective. The objective timing for when the next one begins is mostly tied to when that objective ends. So you can see that the objective is now over. Both sides have nothing.
Okay.
There's no objective.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Attack this wall.
Kill the wall. It's a bad wall. So the timing of the next thing, of the next objective beginning, will be based off of that time when it ended.
Okay, so it's not like, okay, so at 4 minutes, at 6 minutes, at blah, blah, blah. It seems like things are going to start to get a little more complicated. Oh, no.
Yep. So in this in-between time when the objective stops, this is a good time to take these camps.
Okay, this is my #1 confusion. I think, you know, the beginning before the first objective, that makes sense. Just, like, it seems like everyone runs towards mid and fights for some reason, and then they come back and do what you said. Don't die, do some poking, push the lane, drain some of the enemy's tower, right?
Yep.
And then get prepared for the first blah, 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 the first objective. After that, it seems like, okay, it seems like you reset and maybe start as you just said, start fucking with these neutral boys.
Yeah. So there are kind of 2 schools of thought to that. That is for the very beginning. This game's actually going to be over because I've got catapults on the core.
Oops.
You can see it ticking down. It's totally fine. We can just jump back into another one.
Okay.
There are 2 schools to thoughts when it comes to camps, and it's mostly depending on what map you are on. So in a 2-lane map where basically the teams are kind of evenly divided between these 2 lanes, it is much harder to... I like the GG. Oh, actually, it'll go on for a little longer.
Okay.
It's harder for you to get a camp and let it push without the enemy, being able to address it. So if, we're both in lane and we get a camp out there, people can kill it because it's just going to meet your minion wave and go with it. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's not going to be super duper duper helpful. It's just kind of...
No.
Yeah.
The other way you can approach a camp is to, if you're on a 3-lane map where the objective pulls you away from a lane. Infernal Shrines, the ones with the Punishers, that is a good example of this. So there are 3 lanes in that one. It's going to begin in either the top or the bottom, and there are merc camps that will push either the top or the bottom. If you see it is in top, you can go get the mercs that are in bottom lane and either force somebody to stick around and clear that camp, or if people all go to the objective, then that merc camp will get a lot of value. It'll basically push for free.
So you're basically, like you said earlier, making your and we just won. Congratulations! Making your enemies sort of figure out what they want to do. Don't give the enemy what they want, more or less.
Exactly. Let them. Force them to make a choice. Force them to make a choice on the map.
Yeah.
Do they either commit 5 people to the objective, or do they go send 1 person to clear that wave? Now suddenly there's 4 there. You've got 5. That's a 4v5. That's a good fight. That is a very good fight to take. I will take a 4v5, a talent tier down if it's not 10. I know that's a lot of qualifying statements on there, but
4v5, got it. Okay.
If I'm down a talent tier, because you just have you have more buttons to click.
Yeah.
Against that,
a larger toolkit, so to say.
Precisely. So yes, after the objective pops or ends, that is generally a good time to take merc camps. Merc camps will also spawn at 2 minutes for siege. Okay. And then a little bit later, like 2:30, 2:45, it depends on the map, for bruisers.
Oh, so it's map specific?
Yes, it is map specific.
Mamma mia. Okay, golly.
But again, generally around 2 minutes. You don't really have to worry about the timings. That's very like, I don't even worry about them in like my gold games about the specific timings. Just know that they're there.
Okay.
And a possibility is, and it'll show up on the map. Like right now, they're not even present on the map, so they're not available.
Got it.
They eventually will be. Yeah, this one's 2 minutes for the siege, and 2:30 for the for the bruiser.
And how are you figuring that out? You're walking up to them, right there.
Or you can,
Here
you
it
can
is.
pan over. You can just pan over.
Pan over
Like,
to it.
I can look at the enemy side and see.
Got
where they
it.
spawn.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah. So after the first objective, going in there and clearing out a camp is
Okay.
probably a good idea. Now, also with mercs, since we're talking about it, they have how mercs work is they will give you XP. So again, if somebody's clearing waves and you go clear a siege camp or something like that, if it's just one person and nobody's missing soak, you now have more XP than the enemy. Always a good thing. However, the XP is calculated and given to your team when you capture the camp.
Okay.
So, Diablo is a very fantastic ganking hero.
Yes.
He can go in there, disrupt people, move them off the point, whatnot. If you and I were to go onto our enemy's side,
Yep.
say they did the camp, we knock them against the wall, we throw them out there, we get away, and we actually stand on the capture pad,
We get in it.
we get that XP, even though they put in all the work, the mana, the health to clear that camp. We get it because we captured it.
Okay.
This can make going against enemy merc camps valuable if you're confident and have like the ability to truly get it.
Right, like if you have better map control or vision or whatever than the other
Yeah.
team. Oh god, Oh,
Okay, so we're close to the 2 minute mark. It gives us about a 10 second warning. Yep. So this is going to pop a little bit before 2 minutes, but you know, it's around that time we were kind of expecting this. And you can see now that our siege camp is activated as well. So if, you know, it's ideal, we see people in top lane, hey, let's clear our siege camp, get that pushing before beginning clearing these shrines. Do you see what I'm saying there?
say it again.
Okay, so if we were, for instance, to see two people top lane,
Yes.
we know we have probably 30 seconds until they're actively down here and ready to go. So
Yes.
ready to contribute to the fight.
Yes.
So what we could do is we could go get the siege camp, clear it out,
Got it.
ideally quickly, and then let that push. So again, we have another choice for them.
Got it.
Now they're divided between getting lane XP, clearing that camp, and clearing the objectives.
And on top of that, you got XP from capturing the camp, and you got a little baby globe from capturing the camp as well, correct?
Indeed, yes. You do
Yeah.
get, yeah, let's go ahead and finish that and just kind of show them.
Okay.
We'll show you that. So neither of us are standing in lane. You can see our XP is not really going up too much. It's kind of trickling in. It just naturally happens. It's not much. It's not as much as if we were to clear the wave. We're doing this extremely slowly because we are a support and a tank.
Yeah.
And ideally, we are not the ones to capture a point, but
Hey man,
you know,
here's
sometimes
what you gotta do. You gotta do. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So you can see it went up a little bit in terms of XP. We also
Yep.
got a globe. Now we're a little bit healthier, and we're ready to go.
And then we're able to re-engage on the objective, and it's more awkward and uncomfortable for the other team on a different area in the middle, because these guys are just like, you know what? I'm a weird satyr thing. I'm gonna go up here and throw my sticks at that people. So our middle lane is gonna push while we do the objective. Cool.
Yep. Because there's more minions in that wave. And then this current objective is going to go bottom. So again, there's more choices out there. Do they defend this powerful objective or let, you know, buildings fall basically
Right.
to a camp?
Right. And I assume the more you play, then eventually you're like, okay, now's the time where we, you know, take the objective. Now's the time that we decide, you know what? We're going to actually not. We're going to scoot and defend our home base and stuff like that.
Exactly. And it's hard for me to say, like, always get the first objective or, you know, every game is different. So there's no real guidelines to kind of go about it. I will say, again, in generalities, the first objective is usually not worth dying for.
Okay. Yeah.
On almost any map that I can really think of, is it's not worth dying for, because you're giving XP away.
That's the number one rule. Don't die. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a very powerful objective, and no objective is really super powerful at the beginning. As the game goes on, and the more time that builds, the stronger merc camps, bosses, objectives get. So the longer a game goes on, the stronger they get. It's sort of a game, a mechanic they have in the game to get it to go quicker.
Do the minions get stronger? The creep boys?
I actually don't know. I am unsure.
Cool. It's fine, player.
Yeah, I apologize. I will look it up and I will let you know.
Thank you. Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, those are. So we've kind of talked about the first objectives in the beginning of the game. The middle game is, it's easy to stitch together the advice from the beginning of the game and the advice I'm about to give on the late game.
Yeah.
Stitch those together, and that's how you kind of get your late or your mid game strategy. So in the late game, and I'm talking post 13.
Minute or level?
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Level 13. That's important. That's a very good point. Level 13.
Okay.
This is when you start getting into the later game realm of things. Clearing waves gets harder. Even in the middle game, clearing waves gets harder if you are losing, because you have less structures, and therefore you are further out from safety. So that middle line that we were talking about, that is assuming that you have structures on both sides.
Right.
If your fort goes down, now you have to run all the way back to your keep. And if you look at the map right now, the distance from the middle of that lane to your keep is so far and has so many alleys for people to come in beside you
and
attack you. So clearing waves is exceptionally hard in the mid game.
So you basically lose this whole chunk of influence right here.
Exactly.
Because, well, obviously your creeps give you vision, and vision is important. But
indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and structures give you vision as well, so you have less vision on the map.
Got it.
And you have less room for safety.
And the vision you do have is more on your easy side anyways, so it's not like it's going to be helpful. So yeah. And that's at the 13 level.
Any level or any time you lose a structure, you're going to be in this. It could very well be off the first objective. Unideally, but shit happens.
Oops.
It's a game. It's a game.
Yeah.
Not everything is ideal world.
If they have like a weird push comp, they're like, you know what? Minute 2, let's take that first tower. I don't give a hell.
Yep. Because safety is so hard in the late game, it is better to go as a group. I'm not even just referring to. I'm not referring to all 5 of you need to move at the same time, between the 13 and 16 level area, but try to buddy up and try to, have your escape, ready to go and ready to use it. Always be vigilant. Look at the mini map. Know when you can step out, when you can't. If everybody's missing and you really want to go get a wave of XP that's maybe like here, or I'm sorry, I guess here. It's a little risky. I wouldn't do it.
Right.
I really wouldn't do it. Unless you have a friend or you have, your whole team with you. Okay, that's a little bit safer than if it's just you by yourself.
Right.
Because they have vision. They're looking to expand their lead. They're looking to get a kill.
Yeah.
So they're going to be sharking no matter what.
Sharking?
Sharking around the map, moving as a pack, trying to get a kill, trying to...
Mamma mia.
Yeah, be aggressive, basically. If you're winning, you're going to be a little bit more aggressive than if you're behind.
Okay, got it.
So go in numbers between the 13 to 16. After you are 20, clearing waves does not matter. The importance of clearing a wave post 20 drops so much if there are no catapults in lane. Okay,
and that's just from a defense standpoint, not an XP standpoint, right?
Correct, because your overall goal is to kind of get to a point where you have all your abilities. You stop gaining abilities once you get to level 20.
Oh,
so therefore you can still gain levels, but you will no longer get any abilities.
Got it.
So if you have all the abilities and there are no catapults in lane, then clearing a wave is not super necessary unless it's like amassed a lot of creeps in there. You will still get the 4% benefit from being a higher level, but it is so not worth dying to clear a wave if you are level 20.
Right.
In addition, the longer the game goes on, the longer your death timer is. And if you are, say, at level 20 and it's pretty late in the game and you go out to clear a wave, if you die, you will probably not be alive for when the next objective comes.
Because your respawn timer is so cussing long, and
it's about a minute most of the time.
Man.
When you get up to level 20. It's about a minute.
That's pretty long. That's pretty long.
Just out of the game.
Yeah, unless you die at the perfect time. What's this guy doing here? Oh,
yeah, it's the creep pull. It's a little long in this game for my liking. So those are kind of the general, things. If it's past 20, don't worry about clearing waves as much. If there is catapult, we've seen the effects of a catapult on core the last 2 games. They've just kind of been sitting here. If 3 build up, 3 is enough to take down your core. 100%. 3 will take it down.
Yeah.
So you need to be clearing those waves because there's an extra minion. That wave will push more. So you just want to be vigilant about clearing those. But again, clear with safety.
Got it.
In terms of levels in talent tiers, there's a certain ranking that I have discovered. And again, this is personal opinion. There are people that would contest me about this and sort of say I'm wrong.
Okay, like deeply, you're not just wrong, you're dangerously incorrect.
Yes, I am actively hurting the game by saying this. In terms of ranking, level 10 is the most important in my opinion.
Okay.
Followed by level 20, 16, 7, 13, then 4.
Mamma mia. Okay. Okay.
So,
do you want to say the whole list again, real quick?
Sure. Level 10 is top. Level 20 is second. Third is 16. Level 7 is fourth.
Okay.
Level 13 is fifth. And level 4 is sixth.
So people should, file that away, in subgroup A, folder Z, as like things to kind of think about. And I guess that's like if that level happens to your opponent, you should increase your oh shit quotient by, let's just say, 32%. Does that sound fair?
I would actually say more about 50%.
50%? 53 probably?
Yeah, if they are level 10 and I am level 9, I am actively shitting my pants and scared to walk out.
Okay, so 10's probably like a 70, and then it drops off a couple percentages here and there. Okay, got it.
Exactly.
That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. The reasons for why they are important is because they kind of lump abilities into sort of categories, like a lot of self-sustain, like I do damage, I heal for a certain amount of that damage, or, whatever, is mostly tied to like 16s. It's different with every character, and I can't speak to, more specifics in this setting. But you get your ultimate, or you get your heroic ability at 10, you get your storm talent, your, ultimate of your ultimate at 20, and then 16 you're generally going to live through a fight a little bit more.
Got it. Okay, got it.
Those are kind of the reasons why.
Got it. That makes sense. Yeah, no, I never really, obviously level 10 made sense, but the other levels I never really saw it that way. I didn't really put 2 and 2 together that all of them sort of did this. There were a few times when the websites that tell you, here's what, if you're playing blah, you should do this if you don't know what you're doing, and if you don't know who you're playing against, whatever. And I think a lot of times there's like, what? This is a weird talent to take. And I guess it's oftentimes like, oh, this is just the tier where you just take something that's not as sexy, but actually it's going to end up helping your team a whole lot.
Exactly. And the more you play, the more you kind of get a general understanding.
Yeah.
And like I said, there are heroes that are different in what are kind of called early game and late game heroes.
Interesting. Okay.
For instance, Falstead I consider an early game hero because he gets a lot of his really, really good talents in the one, 1 force in 7, and then 10, obviously.
Yeah.
But then like his 13 and 16, in my opinion, are a little lacking. Like,
Yeah.
they don't offer me as much utility as like his 4, which is his self heal, which is super important to his assassin.
Yeah.
You get that at level 4 when most have to wait till 16 or 13.
Right.
It's like, okay, I can see why Falstead is now important. You know, in the early game, it's harder to kill him. And then there are certain characters that are really good in the late game just because they get like their 16 is like insane and their 13 is equally as insane.
Yeah.
Like, okay, now I can engage. For instance, the other day I was playing a game and we had a Sergeant Hammer who basically did nothing until she got her level 16, which was graduating range, which basically meant if she sat there for long enough, her range got bigger and bigger and bigger. And so she would just post up in the back and like we'd be fighting outside of it. And she was just like, sorry, gang, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And it sucked until we hit 16. And then eventually she was like, sorry, gang, this is where I'm at. And then it got bigger. And she's like, all right, now I can fight.
Yeah.
And then we started winning.
Yeah. So, no, that is both my least and one of my favorite parts about MOBAs. There's again, sorry for saying Dota again, but there's sort of like a meme, so to speak, of the... it's like farming complete. Let's go, because Dota is so much. There's so much you can do to make your core, I guess you'd say, whatever, like beefy. Like my early Dota career was let my buddy get as yoked as hell, where we're losing the game and he's not in any fights ever. He's playing his own game called farming, and then he flips a switch and he comes out of the jungle and he's ready to kill everyone. So it seems that's kind of cool that there's ways to do that. You know, again, it's also the thing I hate the most because it's like you think you're winning, but then again, you know, it seems like that's what gives a game like this depth, right? You said that if you see a Falstead, it's like, all right, well, let's careful about early Falstead, and then lean on dunking his buddies, and then in the future we'll see what's up.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll kind of take a crap on him later in the game when I get my ability to heal myself and I can 1v1 trade against him.
Yeah, and I think, you know, figuring all that stuff out is beyond sort of our goals for right now, unfortunately, but, you know, it would be insane to be like, well, you know, if a Falstead's on a Hanamura, then you want to do this.
It would get so hyper specific and like unreasonable amount of information,
right?
For, you know, the generalities that
right, because like
nobody's going to go reference that video before they're going to play a Falstead on, you know, Infernal Shrines. They're going to be like, okay, I got to watch this 20-minute video before I play this 20-minute match.
Yeah, like as of right now, you've said like 1.5 characters to play, which, you know, is, you know, makes sense because you got to get used to like the basics first, as opposed to.
Oh, Tim.
I did.
Tim.
What?
You're running. But yeah, and we will. I've been in talks with Michael Bachman about.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. About doing a little bit more of a specific deep dive into certain heroes with somebody that is extremely more skilled than I.
Okay.
At, coaching people.
Okay.
So we'll see where that goes. Hopefully that will be content that if you do have some specific questions, you can go view that a little bit later.
Okay.
In terms of where we're at for this lesson for objectives as well as late game, did you want to talk about mid game, or does it sort of make sense? I kind of bled those like mid and late game.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously each map is different. Can you just kind of... It seemed like the basic thing for mid-game was transitioning from your first, second, or third objective to what now? Like, how our waves, if our waves are fine, we go fucks with these mercenary camps or whatever you call them.
Yep. And again, it's always a matter of... I'm going to keep harping on it because it is one of the most important things. Clearing waves safely. Looking at your mini map, if you have vision of them, you know where everybody's at, and you can kind of have free reign. If you understand, you're like, okay, there's 2 top, that's fine. I can face this one guy in bottom because I see the other 4 people.
Right.
Just things get a little harder to manage, just because you may have lost structures or you can press your advantage a little bit more because they have lost structures.
Got it.
So those are kind of always the cardinal rules: is just clear waves, stay safe. If you have nothing to do, or you're losing map control where there's like more enemy minions in a wave, merc camps, bruisers, and siege can help you gain that control back.
Yeah.
Because therefore you're putting more people into that.
Yeah, so it's like you spawned extra creeps. They're also a little bit more beefier. I think this is something I should have asked last time, but I didn't think about it.
Sure.
What about specific tips for people that don't have the wonderful Geekly community? You know, like you're giving us, like I kind of hinted at it in the previous video, the whole thing of not accidentally looking like an idiot when you choose where to lane. That can definitely help you if you're playing with randos. But how about for the things right now? You know, here I am playing a game by myself. It's minute whatever, and how do I make the team sort of think, oh, this person, he is not the suck?
It is honestly just a matter of playing. You will, as you play more, you will get more comfortable with your hero. You will know what fights you can take, what fights you can't. You will know where your weaknesses are and where other characters' strengths are just by virtue of playing against them. It's an unfortunate thing of just you need to gain a knowledge base.
Yeah.
If gaining that knowledge base for you is I'm playing this one character and I'm going to play them until I know everything about it, that's perfectly fine. Just pay attention to what the other team is doing. But first and foremost, look at what you're doing.
Right.
Know your character in and out, and then, sort of begin to look at other things. So get comfortable with one thing before you move on to learning about something that maybe makes you uncomfortable.
Right. And it seems like the number one thing still is don't die.
Don't die. Get XP. Stay safe.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you so much for this chapter 2 here. I feel like my knowledge of objectives in the later game is better. It doesn't feel as, I guess you'd say, solid as the first chapter, because as you just said, you're not going to figure this out by watching one video. You're going to get tips to grow on, but now I know what to pay attention to when I play my games, whether with the rest of the Geekly community or I by myself or whatever. And we won. Thank God. But thank you so much. We will do more of these, and then eventually maybe moving on to more specific difficult concepts, but right now I think this is a lot to kind of to chew up. Yeah. Thank you, Phil, again. What is your Twitter on the internet?
I am at Canada_Philip with 2 L's.
Is there anything else you'd like to plug? I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you that last time.
If you'd like to join the GeeklyInc Discord, there are people playing Here's the Storm in maybe a little bit more of a competitive fashion, trying to win. But if you're looking for fun people to hang out with and spend time with, and you want to play some, HOTS or other games, there are a ton of people. There's a really large community on the Discord. So go ahead and click that link, find it, and get in there. And join us. Have fun with us.
It's not super hard to find, but we also don't pin it to the GeeklyInc Twitter because we don't want trolls to find it, but it's also, again, super easy to find. So, it's that, give that slight hurdle to filter out most people, but all that good stuff. All right. Thanks again. And everyone out there, enter the Nexus, baby!